In 2016, Conor McGregor was already a megastar. But then he did the impossible. He became the first fighter to hold 2 UFC titles simultaneously.
Look, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second belt. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 belts ready. Spit shine for me. They're have both in the octagon. It's never been done before.
That single act didn't just break records. It broke the UFC's entire championship system in ways no one saw coming. And none of it was for the good of the sport.
I'm brand new. There's not a scratch on me. I've not been wobbled back. You know what I mean? I'm for a 28-year-old on top of the game with all the belts, all the money, all the numbers. In a game like this, there's not a thing wrong with me. So I can keep going all day, but I'm aware of my worth. And now I've got a family. Now I've got a kid on the way. So I'm coming for mine now if you want me back.
First, he knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds to claim the featherweight crown. Then, after a brief 2-fight detour with Nate Diaz, he brutalized Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight title. History was made, champagne was popped, and noses were dusted. But no one asked the critical question, now what? Because how many defenses did the UFC's new superstar make? None. 0, zilch, nada. Not one. He didn't even try. Instead, McGregor turned his superstardom into money by embracing boxing. But he didn't box just anyone. McGregor signed on to face Floyd Money Mayweather in 2017, and he left 2 divisions in the UFC without a champion. That's when the scramble began. That same year, Tony Ferguson claimed an interim lightweight title in McGregor's absence, but he injured himself and the UFC stripped him. Then the whole lightweight division began to implode. In 2018, realizing that McGregor had no interest in making a quick return, the UFC finally declared the lightweight title vacant. Khabib Nurmagomedov scooped it up, meaning he was the second man to hold a lightweight belt without beating the champ. Going back to 2017 and the featherweight division, Aldo beat Frankie Edgar for an interim title before being promoted to full champion once again when McGregor didn't return. Except Max Holloway then cooked Aldo, so that was another 2 champs who had never beaten the champ. In short, McGregor inadvertently forced the UFC to crown 4 new champions in under 2 years, none of whom had beaten the real champ, and the UFC still hadn't realized the snowball had started rolling. Still in 2018, and on the back of the Irishman's unprecedented success, the light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier was allowed to move up to heavyweight, and he beat the champ Stipe Miocic for the gold. DC was now a champ too, but he got caught in a 3-fight feud with Miocic. He had to dump his light heavyweight belts, and voila! Another division in a mess, another vacant throne. Jan Blachowicz claimed DC's vacated title, but instead of defending it against the light heavyweight, the middleweight champion Israel Adesanya made his attempt at champ status. That meant the middleweight division went 10 extra months without having a belt on the line. And in 2019, the situation hit DEFCON 1 when Henry Cejudo became champ, because a year later, he had retired after vacating the fly and bantamweight titles. Between 2018 and 2021, 7 belts were dropped without involving a fight, and McGregor, Ferguson, Cormier, Cejudo, and Khabib were all involved in champ shenanigans. Perhaps even worse, an additional 4 interim titles were created in this time to fill the void. Those 4 years were a mess, and the promotion knew it. Understandably, this made them cautious about champs, but they hadn't given up on them entirely. Not yet. In 2023, after Islam Makhachev captured lightweight gold, he turned his attention to the featherweight king Alexander Volkanovski's pound-for-pound crown. And this was the rivalry that would eventually right the ship. But first, the ship had to capsize.
I have new target. I have to be #1 pound-for-pound champion. That's why I have to go to the Australia and beat this guy.
This guy was Volk, and the reasons he was allowed to fight for champ status was simple. Volkanovski was pound-for-pound #1. That was the real crown Islam wanted. And pound-for-pound supremacy was McGregor-esque box office gold for the UFC. Things didn't go according to plan, though. Makhachev may have edged out Volk by unanimous decision, but after 4 razor-close rounds, the 5th was all Volk, and he pummeled Islam to the final bell. As a result, Volkanovski lost the fight, but held on to his pound-for-pound throne because he dared to go up a division and take on the bigger champ. Needless to say, Islam wasn't thrilled, so when Charles Oliveira dropped out of their rematch 12 days before the fight, who did he call out?
Soon or later, his fight have to be happen because I won the rematch and Alex won the rematch. But last time I beat him 4 rounds, just last round he won. I just give him chance to last minute. But this fight, everything is gonna change. I want to finish him and finish all this talk about this fight.
With no camp and after already having 2 championship fights that year, Volk stepped up. And Volk got knocked out in the first round.
I just show I'm not just wrestler, grappler or striker, and I know I'm a best fighter, best MMA fighter in the world.
Somehow, beating a smaller guy twice as your only 2 defenses, once on short notice, was enough to earn Islam the pound-for-pound crown. The criticism came loud and clear, and perhaps that's why he jumped to welterweight. But unlike Conor, Islam didn't take his belt with him. Fast forward to 2025, and we haven't seen another champ since, because UFC CEO Dana White had finally seen the light. He didn't ban the practice, but he added 2 hefty caveats for anyone thinking about going for a second belt. Clean out your division first, and then defend both titles. If there's a guy that thinks he can do it and wants to defend both belts and has accomplished all these great things, I would have no problem with it, said White. But you're going to be busy. And so far, the system has worked. Now, hold on to your hats, people. In February 2025, Ilia Topuria vacated the featherweight title he took from Volk so that he could go after lightweight gold. A month later, Makhachev officially vacated his lightweight strap to fight at welterweight. Volkanovski then reclaimed Topuria's vacated featherweight crown by beating Diego Lopez, and then in June, Topuria beat Charles Oliveira for the lightweight belt Makhachev vacated. 2 divisions, 2 vacancies, 2 new champs, all inside of 5 months. No logjams, no waiting, just active divisions. The system worked. It took the UFC almost a decade to learn, but McGregor's historic double champ feat was actually a curse. Now, the ship is finally back on course, and without the stream of double champs, the sport can breathe again. At least for now.
Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.